And we're live in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, Jordan Nielsen here, host of Real Estate Pros on Lister Pros TV, and today we're here with Shelton of Realty One Group. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day as a real estate agent and joining me on Real Estate Pros this morning.
Cool, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so for those that are watching that don't know who you are, we'll give you a couple minutes to introduce yourself.
Okay, my name is Shelton. I'm with Realty One Group in the Northwest office, the best office in Centennial Hills. Been in real estate now for about 15 years full time.
Nice.
Yeah, I enjoy what I do and I like helping people.
Awesome. So we were talking a little bit prior to going live about, you had a background.
Right.
So talk a little bit about, because I find it interesting how different people kind of find their way into real estate or decide they want to jump into real estate. So what was your story?
Honestly, I think real estate kind of found me. I've had a small business since college, and I was in between deciding which way I was going to go, and I started in this business right at the time when the market was taking off in 2003, and who knew what was going to happen next year. So I got lucky. I got in the business not knowing which way or what was going to happen, but like most agents, you get in the money, you see that big lottery ticket, you make a lot of money.
Commission check.
Yes, exactly. And to be honest, I don't have anyone in my family that's in real estate. We've bought 2 homes before prior to me getting into this business. And I think it was just meant to be because I've helped a lot of people, and I've always wanted to be in that position to where I can make a difference, an impact. I come from special events. And I help people with weddings and that sort of thing. But this is huge. When you're helping someone to buy a home, that is huge, because it impacts the family dynamics, it's impacting that community, and it is a real help, and I wanted to be, I just kind of wanted to be in that position to where I can help somebody.
Sure. Yeah. So previously you were in the special event.
Yeah.
So how did that help you transition into real estate when you?
Well, because you still have to be in business. I was in business for myself. For about 10 years, I had a special event. Well, I had a gift shop and I had a special event. We did a lot of casino. We had contracts up and down the casino. Up and down the strip corridor with all the casinos. And we did a lot of their special events. And I started at the time when casinos just started with special events. So a lot of them didn't really know what special event was all about. So it was a hit and miss, educating and not educating, getting to get it. But so I knew the business side of how to create a business, because when you get in real estate, it's not a job.
Right.
It feels like a job that you don't get paid for.
Yeah.
But it's a business. So you got to deal with clients. You got to know what you're doing. You got to give good customer service, which I learned from my business. And you got to keep up with the people that you help, And at the end of the day, you have to want to help people to earn anything. Because if it's all about the money, you're not going to make enough money. It's about helping people, and that's the good feeling about this business, because you get paid by default, because your focus is, I'm going to help somebody get one of the single most important things in their lives outside of the marriage, of course, but it's huge when you think about buying a home and they're going to be in that house for maybe 5, 10, 15. My parents bought their house at 19, I can't remember, and they still have it. But because
the house you grew up in?
Yeah, the house I grew up. Since 3rd grade. So and my dad still lives there. So that just keeps the family dynamics in one place, because even if children or whoever fall back, they always have a place to call home, And me being a native in Las Vegas and going through the things I did, I understand how important it is to help someone find a house. It's huge. It's huge.
And obviously you've been successful in real estate for a long time. You've made it 15 years in the business.
Yeah.
And I think you said something correct. You have to run it like a business.
Well, you do. Yeah, you have to know what you're hitting and missing. And then, it's like anything. You try everything and find out what works. But you don't limit yourself on just one vehicle of approach, because if you're trying to grow your business, I mean, I would love to own Realty One, but
Right.
But Kuba, who's the owner, he started somewhere. You have to put one foot in front of the next, but you have to keep moving. It's a business, so you got to try all of it, in order for it to work.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your value that you bring to your clients, right? Because we know that there's a whole lot of different agents in the Las Vegas area. Why do people ultimately choose to work with Alan?
Well, I think just like with any business, people will use who they trust. If you vibe really good with your clients, and they feel comfortable with you, you articulate their needs and wants, and you understand what it is they want and need, and you deliver on that, then they will ultimately tell all their family and all of their friends, hey, work with Alan because I trust him. It's like going to a doctor. If you go in a doctor's office and he diagnosed a knee problem for a heart condition, you're not going to come back.
Yeah.
So you got to, first of all, the person got to know. I teach business, not business, I teach home ownership classes. And everyone, it's Vegas, and they say everyone in Vegas, you have a real estate license. And I'm coming across, it kind of is. Everybody has a real, but the thing is, you have to know what you're doing. It's fine to have another job and have, your side gig is real estate.
Sure.
But you have to put your trust in someone to know what they're doing, and not just, you don't want them to be part-time doing this for you, because it's a huge undertaking to buy a home. So all of a sudden you're dealing with the valet attendant at the MGM who's also a real estate agent who just got into business 3 years ago. You may not want that if you're buying an $800,000 house.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's especially when you're going to bat for something like that, having an agent that experience in negotiating and doing stuff, not just trying to, I'm going to get a side paycheck because I have another gig going on over here, which is cool, but obviously delivering more value overall, being in real estate full time.
Yeah, you need that. And you find out the thing about having a full-time agent work for you is that they understand the dynamics of negotiating, because each market is different. Right now we're in the seller's market, but there's a plateau coming up. So what does that mean in terms of a plateau? Well, you may have a little bit more leverage now as a buyer. When it's a seller's market, you're paying all your closing costs. As a buyer, you're paying everything. There's no negotiating because the seller is just waiting for the next buyer that's standing in line behind you. I showed a house a couple months ago, and it was a perfect example. I kept telling my client, well, she wanted to do this. And I said, well, it's a seller's market. So she didn't get it until we went in the house, and as we were coming out, a line had formed outside of the same house that they wanted. And I'm like,
man.
Hey. Well, they's like, Alan, what are they doing? I said, I think they're looking at your house. So it's a seller's market, so they get it. But it only goes to a point. Every industry, I don't care what you're in, they have a time and a place. Real estate is the same one. It's just, I tell people right now in Vegas is huge, because in the next 2 years we're going through so many dynamics with undertaking new developments. Fontainebleau and Madison Square Garden partnership with Venetian and building a Sphere. The Raiders are building the stadium. You got all these different dynamics that's going to create a huge demand for home ownership. And if you don't get in and ride that wave, you may get left out.
Sure.
So you got to do it. You got to buy a house.
Right. That's a good point. When a flood of different people come in, more jobs, people coming in, that's going to create more demand for homes, and then supply may drop and prices may rise. So like you said, today could be a great time to buy here in Las Vegas. So are you a native?
Born and raised, yeah. Born and raised.
So how does that help your clients? Because I run into a lot of people that weren't necessarily born here in Las Vegas.
Well, Vegas is, it only helps in terms of me understanding the culture. Mm-hmm. That's it. But Vegas, all this stuff is so new. We talking about 2004 when they had the big condo high-rise boom. A lot of things didn't happen. You have a lot of places that they're building now didn't even exist. When I bought my home, I can see from and I'm in Centennial Hills, which wasn't even named Centennial Hills. It used to be Town Center, and they changed the name to Centennial. So from my house, I could see Mount Charleston. But now we have Centennial Hospital, we have everything. So only thing, being a native, it simply says I understand the culture. But because we're such a diverse community, people from everywhere, you could be here in the last 5 years and consider yourself a native, because we deal with new stuff. You know, so as long as you know what's going on currently, that's what people want to know. You know, you got the millennials. I want nice new stuff. You know, old stuff is okay, but I want something not too much older than myself. And I get that. Same thing when we bought our first house. We didn't want something that was like 30 years older than us. We wanted something that we first could afford.
Right.
But, you know, we wanted to work on it. You know, we wanted to work it, we build on it. And it's just, you know, it's a great thing. I'm telling you, buying and owning a house is totally different than renting. Renting, there's too many unknowns. I don't know if my rent is going to go up. It's going to go up. You know, I don't know if I got to move. If you live in a house and the seller wants to sell, you're going to have to move. You know, so it's a lot of things. But when you own a house, when you're living in a house, as long as you pay that mortgage, which in most cases is cheaper than rent, depending on where you are, you're in that house until you pay it off. You know, we talk about if it's 15 years or if it's 30 years, you can rest and say, oh, this is my house. And all you got to think about is if the couch is going to fit in that corner.
Right.
That's it.
So what are some of the misconceptions? Because obviously some people may think, oh, my credit's bad, or I don't make enough money to afford a house. What are some of the misconceptions that you see? And then when people don't, obviously it's got to be gratifying when somebody doesn't think they can buy a house and then you help them buy a home. And
yeah, it is. Just we had a couple closings recently. And it's just like anything. If you put your mind to it, you can make it happen. You know, you just have to commit to it. There's so many people on the fence when they start talking about, I don't know if my credit is right. Well, check it and get it right.
Right.
You know, I don't know if I make enough money. Well, find out if you make enough money. There are programs for down payment assistance to help people to bridge the gap. See, the challenge is most people who are renting for $1,500 a month can afford to make a mortgage payment for $1,200 a month. They just can't bridge the gap of the closing costs that it takes to get into the house. Well, they have programs out there to help you bridge that gap. So it's not even a big hiccup. It's just like I'm sliding to home plate. You know, now I own a house. But if you commit mentally to anything, you can do it. You just got to get off the fence and do it, you know, and find out. You know, it's just like anything. You know, if I could sit here and say, I need to lose weight, well, what am I going to do? I got to get off the couch and get to the gym, right? That's it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome. So what advice would you give for a brand new agent starting today?
Well, I think you should listen to your broker. First of
You
all,
learn from experience? I'm just kidding.
Exactly. You know, you go through things, and I always say sometimes the best life experiences are the things that we mess up. Because you know, if you mess it up, then you know not to do it again. Hopefully you learn from that challenges. But if you sit and don't do anything, you never get anywhere. So you have to go through it. But you listen. In real estate, you know, we have what's called errors and omissions to help you in case you do mess up really bad. It's like insurance for people who mess up. But you have brokers who they challenge you with taking action, but they're supposed to hold your hand a little bit until you can do it by yourself. You know, so, I mean, and the biggest thing is that if you find people that are personable people, they're trustworthy, they're ethical, they're going to do good in any business. You know, real estate happens to be that tool that they want to use, then make sure you do it the way it's supposed to be meant. And that's not to deceive, but to create and help people, you know, so they get it.
Awesome. So for those watching that, actually, I'll ask you first, why did you choose Realty One Group? Because there's so many broker or different companies out there.
You know, I chose Realty One Group after I left Century 21. See, I left Century 21, and it's like most agents, you leave based on what you're going to get from it. You know, you figure, okay, if this agency can provide me, because you get to a certain level of experience, of knowledge, and of understanding how to do the business, then you don't need as many people holding your hand and directing your actions. So you go to a company, Realty One Group just happened to be that company that was coming on the scene that understood what agents needed. You know, they understood that all these little nickel and dime type things, we just wanted to be able to capture the technology on our own experience. You know, Realty One Group may not be for every agent, but it was for me. It was a perfect fit. You know, they allowed me to be me and do but they provided me the resources that I need to use, you know, technology-wise. So, I mean, I just think Realty One Group is amazing. You know, but agents, you know, come and go, they leave and they stay. But if you commit to something and you focus on it and you use all the resources that company gets, see, no one is going to feed you in this business. It's not an hourly job. You know, we get paid by the deal. So if we're not out there hustling business, if we're not out there making transactions, we're not eating. You know, people used to say, hey, Alan, do you work on Sunday? I eat on Sunday. That's it. So, but yeah, I like Realty One Group, and I've been with them since 2011.
Nice.
So, and I don't see me leaving anywhere. You know, I like the dynamics of the leadership. I like what Cuba has taken the company. I like the tools that they've given us for free, you know, where other companies may charge you. And I just think, I mean, and they're growing. This company has grown leaps and bounds from when they first started, and they're all over the country now. So you can't beat it, you know.
And I'll ask you, obviously you've been in the business for 15 years now. What are some of the main business drivers, I guess, when you first started in the business?
Yeah.
So we can get an idea of what it took to get started, and then what are your main drivers today?
Well, you know, I think as an agent who's been in the business for 15 years in Las Vegas, the driver is just the economy and the people are moving. We had about 600 people moving here a month. And it slowed down when we went through that depression through 2008 to 2011 when it bottomed out. But just like my special event business, I grew with the city. So as long as you tap into what's going on around you, then you can grow your business along with the people coming into the city. You know, it's almost like if you put a bridge in a certain area, people have to come over your bridge. You know, they have to come this way. And that's just kind of like, if you know your city, like that's a good, you know, native. So I kind of know the culture, so I know how to hit the different areas. But where my home is, Centennial Hills, didn't exist when we bought our home in '98. So, but I've grown with everything around it. Now you got Sky Canyon and all the other ones. We got a hospital over there and Walmart, which I love. I'm there three times a week, you know, because I got kids.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you just those are one of the things, is because it's a customer service business. And if you're not about delivering customer service, then it's not a business for you. You know, you can't just be like, I don't feel like doing this. It's a business. You know, if you don't feel like eating, then this is not the business for you. That's kind of how it is.
Yeah. Awesome, Alan. Well, if somebody watching here wants to reach out to you, maybe ask you some questions about Realty One Group, or they're looking to buy or sell a home in the Las Vegas area, how do people get a hold of you?
Well, you can reach me by my cell, of course, 702-234-9728, or on Facebook at Alan Shelton. That's my Las Vegas realtor.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan, for joining me this morning on Real Estate Pros, and we will see you guys on the next episode.